5 seconds. Hi everybody, this is Johan Gauthier, a leader of the HR Rockstars tribe, and do we have such a great HR Rockstar TV show for you tonight. I am, the words are just flying over my head right now, along with the butterflies and Marilyn Monroe, and there we go. We have a great lineup of outstanding, remarkable leaders, and I'm really grateful. Uh, Ted Coine is here with us tonight. We have two Suzannes, Daigle and Mazza, and last but not least, Tom Asacker, and two of my great friends on the core leadership team of HR Rockstars, Nora Whalen and Dave Moore. And Angela Goodeve is not with us tonight, my sweetie, but she's not far. And Kelly Smith-Gall is probably watching, along with Eva, our creative director out of Belgrade in Europe. So this is going to be an unstoppable infectious connection that's going to last for a good hour. And although our friend Ahim Nohak is in Shanghai, China tonight, as I said before the hangout, it's probably the morning. He's sending us vibes. He's been sharing emails and you know, good gratefulness and kindness out of our way to support the infectious bliss that we're going to be creating. So tonight it's really an opportunity to hear firsthand and engage in what I like to call new currency that we're creating when people are putting their hearts on the table and engaging and being their, you know, true leaders like we are. And so because I typically at this point I say, okay, enough about me, Johan, let's hear about who's here. Let's do a roundtable like we typically do, starting with, we're going to start with the ladies here because we're gents. So I'm going to start with Suzanne Daigle, not to put you on the spot, and then an opportunity for each of you to present yourself, and we're going to launch the discussion once we're all presented. Suzanne, over to you.
Hello, bonjour, and of course you're going to put me on the spot, Johan. Ever since I've met you, you put me on the spot now.
Exactly.
Now, I'm getting these little pauses on my video camera, so I'm not sure if it's on the receiving end, but anyway, if it gets frozen or I just look like I'm not talking, I'm really there. I'm just missing some little burps. So I guess I think what I want to say is that I'm amazed, like totally amazed. Like a month ago, I didn't know much about Twitter. I think Akim said to Ted Coine, I'm probably the first one that ever got kicked out of Twitter because I was trying to get these different accounts and finally got on. Yeah. And, you know, if someone had told me that I could feel as connected with people as quickly, and I do connect, but I'm just still celebrating. That's kind of how I want to introduce it. I'm just celebrating that I'm able to meet people where we feel so purposefully aligned. And for me, alignment is that we spend a heck of a lot of time at work, and it should be fun, and it should be purposeful, and it should equal life. So that's why I'm here. And I feel like I met people in a tribe, and that's as much as I'll say for now. And I'm jolly happy to be in Canada with. They're downstairs watching on a big screen TV, so I hope they can hear. And that's kind of cool. So that's it. That's for me for now.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. We're
You're
really
welcome.
happy. We've known each other for less than 3 weeks, and look where we are, the world of possibilities. And the same can be said with Suzanne Mazza. Suzanne, over to you.
So,
You know, same connection here.
Thanks. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to be introducing myself or just saying opening comments. Can you just clarify what you want me to do here?
Whatever, you go with your flow. It's an opportunity for people that don't know you to get to know you, and then if you want to muse like Suzanne did and tell a personal story there, go ahead.
Okay, great. No rules. I love it.
Yes.
You know, for me, some of my, you know, some of my dearest friends, best collaborators, some of the most profound personal and professional connections I've made have been over the last 4 years since I started using Twitter. And to think that I went from, you know, like, what the heck is this thing? And somebody convinced me that if all I did was get on and learn the art of brevity, because if somebody got interested in what you had to say in 140 characters or less and was willing to retweet you, like to share what you had to say, that you were starting to demonstrate a mastery in perhaps one of the most significant aspects of succeeding in the attention deficit society in which we live. What I never, and so in the beginning it was fun, and it was also, I read a blog, Random Acts of Leadership, and I started my blog around the same time I got on Twitter, and if it wasn't for social media, I would have been truly speaking to no one. And so it's been, the generosity of people, how much I've learned, and the people that I've gotten to connect with from around the world has been just phenomenal. And I too have been amazed at just how connected you can get to another person. People think it's about the 140 characters, but it isn't. It's about what happens beyond, because of the connection you make through the thoughts you have about the personal connection. I'll tell a very quick personal story and then maybe segue to the next person. But Ted and I had been connecting on Twitter, and so I was headed to Naples for my daughter's lacrosse tournament. I said, great opportunity to meet Ted. So we figured out we could meet at a Starbucks on Saturday morning or afternoon or something over, and we're going to meet for half an hour. And 2 hours later, my husband and his wife called, like, where the hell are you? and Ted and I have been friends ever since, and so that 140 characters turns into meaningful, rich relationships very quickly, and so that's what I have to say.
Well, thank you so much, Susan. And we had a pretty infectious hangout with you, I think a month ago, and where you told your personal stories here about your father, and so that is what's magical about our moments, is when we're opening our hearts like we do. And so, Ted, have you purchased a Starbucks franchise where people are meeting you in Naples?
Starbucks has this thing. They brand like themselves as they want to be the third place, which I know because my wife worked at Starbucks for a while. So the third place means, like, you have home, you have work, and then you have Starbucks, right? Well, Starbucks is my third place. It's horrible. They can pay me for that endorsement. But I love it because I meet everybody there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah. So just give us the address and we'll meet you there, either in person or virtually. There we go. So that's a really nice segue, because there's a book right beside you, The Business of Belief. Tom, have you had something to do with this? Ted is like, he's glowing next to you.
Yeah, it's called product placement. Apple does that. Apple does that in movies. You see a lot of people using Apple computers, so it's so we figured that out. But I'm very glad to be here. This is turning into my third place now. I don't go to Starbucks anymore. I go to Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
So maybe they're taking over. We'll all just buy those Keurig machines and brew a cup of coffee and go to Google Hangouts. You meet much more interesting people in Google Hangouts than you do at Starbucks.
That's so true. That's so true. And Dave Moore and I got the memo tonight, so I guess that makes us infectious. But we're going to start with Nora, Dave. And you're going to have the last word, but not least, before we go into an infectious connection. So Nora, there we go. Nora.
Well, welcome everyone, first and foremost. It's just such a pleasure to meet with all of you and to have this opportunity, and I would completely agree. I mean, there's no conference that could have connected everyone that was on this call tonight, or everyone that's in HR Rockstars. There just isn't one. So being able to connect with people that truly are like-minded, that are international, that you wouldn't necessarily meet in real life, and have the ability to, because of social media, is just remarkable. So it's an honor to be here with you guys tonight.
Absolutely, Nora, and thanks for welcoming everybody. I didn't even say that when I started. I mean, thank God you're there. Thank God you are there. So, Dave, you want to continue on that note? You're so welcoming.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say almost the same thing. I'm David Moore. I'm the CEOC of the Moore Consortium, which is quite handy because shares the same name as I do. So it was very convenient for me to start that business. It's just great to meet the four of you. And if you're wondering what CEOC is, that's the Chief Executive of Organised Chaos, which is on my business cards.
Fabulous.
Having the four of you in the same room. And I've said this, and a lot of people think, oh, he's talking about money and he's talking about business. But can you imagine these hangouts, and you were right, how much would it cost to get the four of you in one room to speak like this? And so these are invaluable. These hangouts are invaluable to anybody that tunes into them, just to be able to tap into your minds. And it's good to see Nora, and it's good to see Johan as well. But having the four of you here is a real privilege to be here with you. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dave. So I think I'm counting how many we are right now. We are 7. No, we're 6. We are all gathered. I mean, so basically, I think there's, to me, just as a segue, and then launch into a discussion. Not that I am the talking head, never. And hi, Ahim. I don't know if you're listening, but if you are, in fact, he's not, because we're not live anyway. There we go. So I guess 2 things for me. There's people. I think that's a common currency, and to me, and I'm reading a lot Seth Godin, not to quote Seth Godin, but the Icarus Principle, and obviously, like last week on Human Biz, you were asking Ted, what are the key books that you're reading? And I quoted Seth Godin's Icarus Principle and then Ahim's Infectious, because those are I think as leaders, we're always in a reading mode and curious and so on. But I think the point I want to make with Seth is, the connected economy, which we're like, it's not just in front of us, we're in it. We are doing it. We're making it real. And as leaders, I think that's key. And so it's all about people, and those connections that we're bringing it to another level are creating a new world currency. And the new world currency, out of these, I know we're going to, like, Dave is going in Belgrade at the end of January. You're going to be in Paris meeting people. The HR Rockstars tribe is thriving because we have people in the tribe like you. And so I want to open the floor really to, how social media has transformed our lives. Each and every one of you has a personal take on this, either from meeting Ted or at Starbucks in Naples or anywhere else. But, where do you see, I think it's a good, way to launch into a new year. Where do you see this going, and how is this going to more profoundly impact how we practice leadership, leading teams, people in our lives on a day-to-day basis? Where do you see this going? Whoever wants to jump first. Don't go at the same time all the time.
Well, okay, I'll jump in.
Yes.
Just to say that I think what's really interesting in the social media field is, like, let me take a couple of examples. Like, I read Tom's book, and then through Google Hangout, I get to meet him. And it's as if you're having an interaction. When you're reading a book, it's a one-way thing. Yeah. I get to see Ted in an interview, and then through Akim, we get to meet. I mean, a lot of it feels a little serendipity, but it's as if those magical connections that happen, they carry forward onto Dave, onto Nora, onto Angela, all of whom I haven't met yet.
Yeah.
But by extension, it feels like we're creating a future world that our traditional world hasn't caught up to yet.
Very true.
And it's some days it's totally overwhelming, and because it sucks to go back in the old world. So I'm a huge fan too of Josh Allen Dykstra, who wrote Igniting the Invisible Tribe. Yes. And I feel like we're like the tribe who was invisible, who's becoming visible to each other. And I think it's amazingly exhilarating, and I hope I live till 100 or more to play in this sandbox with you guys. So I think we have a lot of stuff to figure out, but that will tap into the creativity, the innovation, and it's accessible to all. So the days of a few talking heads or a few experts, I just don't believe in it, and I'm not going to wait for it. Let's just get on the saddle, go where we're going, and wherever it takes us, and we'll laugh along the way, by the way.
There we go. I'm speechless. Oh.
If I can add to that, so social media didn't even exist. Say, remember when the .com bubble burst, and at that time people were talking about Web 2.0, and that was only like, when did it burst? 2000, 2001, and when I was reading articles about Web 2.0, I couldn't even wrap my head around it. I'm not much of a techie anyway. I've learned a lot in the last couple of years, but even back just what, 12 years ago, there was no social media at all besides chat rooms. What the hell is a chat room? So now we've got all these different. There's more social mediums available, seriously, than we could possibly find time for. So we're just choosing our 1 or 2 or maybe 4 favorites and going there. You know, as we know, a lot of us personally prefer Twitter, and then we do our face-to-face on Google+. And a lot of people, for personal reasons, prefer you know, Facebook. I hate it, because I can't stand looking at other people's vacation pictures. But that's me. And then there's, you know, LinkedIn if you want to, you know, hit somebody up for a job or whatever that's good for. So, sorry, that was very dismissive of 2 very large forces in our society. But what I'm saying is, you know, a very short while ago, social did not exist at all, and now it's pervasive. And when people think of social media, they think of, how can I use this to promote my business? The CMOs are all over social. At least they give it to an intern to run. That's today. But very shortly, we're going to see that it's not really a marketing thing at all. What we are doing just by participating is, you know, this collaboration technology. It's free. As Dave pointed out, it's incredibly cheap, you know, for us to connect. You also find each other, which I love. That, I think, is the most powerful part of all. There are 2 other Floridians here I never would have met were it not been for social media. That's the real power. Yeah. Okay. I'll get off my soapbox.
You know, I want to pick up on something there.
Yes.
You know, I don't know who said this, so if you know who quoted it, but it's been said that life is a conversation, right? And there's a distinction from the consulting firm, the London Perret Roche Group that I work with, where, you know, where I was trained in doing organizational change consulting, and called the network of conversation. And, you know, a lot of what we did in organizations was we listened to the patterns of conversations that told us what was possible, not possible, what were the unwritten rules. And, you know, so we really went to, you know, the culture lives in that network of conversation, right? And some people have said, you know, wow, there's millions of people on Twitter. They've asked me, how do you know to connect with? And, you know, when I got on Twitter, I didn't even have to think very much about that, because you start out with a small group of people, and then you start following people who are saying things that you want to listen to, and posting articles that you want to read. And then those are the people that you connect with. So that whole idea of life as a conversation translates so well into the world of, you know, I'm kind of focusing on Twitter because I have similar views to Ted about the others, right? I'm still trying to get how their place for me. But what I've noticed is that the interactions that we have on Twitter are magnifying at an exponential rate the ideas and the conversations, and what I think about and how I think about leadership. I can't say what I learned from which book and whatever. I can pull quotes. I can't even tell you who exactly I learned a lot of things in my own philosophies around leadership, but they've been imprinted on by every single person, you know, that I've interacted with in the social media space, to the point where we're in this shared conversation, and I don't know where these ideas start or end. I don't think it matters. What matters isn't whose idea, you know, like, so much less focus for me anymore on ownership, like who owns this idea, and so much more focus on what are we doing with those ideas. And that's what I find so incredibly exciting about, you know, the network of conversation, the conversations we want to bring us together. But it's what we do with those, and what the successes that we share and the opportunities we create together is, for me, where the real magic is. Sorry, I just went on for a really long time there.
No, you weren't passionate at all. But we do believe, right, Tom? I mean, there's a belief. I think that's the core. If people believe, I think the mere fact that we're all gathered here tonight, we believed in something, that something magical was going to happen. But I want to tap into Tom's energetic, resonant leader, because I think belief is so key to every structure, every conversation.
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure if we collectively believe in something or if we're really curious, passionate people that decided to dive into this pool to figure out what this was all about. Because, I mean, leadership and belief is about a common destination, and I'm here. I'm here to find out what this is all about. And I mean, that's part of who I am. I'm an old guy that happens to play around with new things all the time. I mean, I was talking to people about a program called PointCast back in 1996 or 7. When I saw PointCast, which was a push medium where your browser turned into a news ticker of news that was going on during the day, I knew at that point that the internet was a breakthrough. I mean, my first book, which I self-published back in 2000, I emailed back and forth with and collaborated with a writer to work on that book. So, I mean, I've been playing with this medium, communication technology, for a long time. I'm just not sure. I know it. One thing I do know is I know it's powerful, very powerful. What I haven't yet figured out is what the power of that technology and all this interaction is going to bring to us. I mean, for example, we just heard, and I agree, that we connect with people who say things that we want to hear or write things that we want to read. And so that has a tendency to create a filter bubble where we're only reading people's thoughts and having conversations with like-minded people, and we tend to not engage with the broader world that maybe, you know, I mean, most of the world has no idea what Twitter is. You know, so we get in this bubble and we start ranting about Twitter and Google and video, and the rest of the world's out there trying to pay their bills and, you know, send their kids to school and do all that. So I guess I feel somewhat, I'm optimistic and hopeful, but I feel this tension about whether or not we can really use this collaborative, very powerful technology to make the changes in the real world that we want to see, and not just have fun in the virtual world.
Yeah. Tom, I mean, I think there's so many gold nuggets. My head is on fire right now. But I think there's a common point here, because I think Suzanne Daigle mentioned that tension that you're talking about, which is the new and the old. I really love that sort of metaphor that Suzanne used, because, you know, we find ourselves in bliss right now, and really this is, I think, where leadership is going in general, and where the development of leaders needs to occur more. You know, how much has it costed us to do that? Our time and our hearts. But, you know, there are many people out there that are following Dave more on Twitter, and, you know, and then we start following Dave, obviously, because he has so many quotes, right, Dave? I mean, you're so quotable on the day-to-day, it's crazy. I need to stop at some point.
Yeah, no, you're very kind to say that. No, it's just what you were saying earlier. You know, I've always believed that the invisible is more important, because the invisible creates the visible. It's like having trees of like fruit on trees. If the fruit isn't any good, you don't go out and polish the fruit. You tend the roots. And so the invisible is like electricity. We don't know, no one can point at it, but we know it's there. And if you don't believe it's there, stand in a pail of water and put your finger in a socket, and you realize it's there, but you can't see it. And it's that invisibility, the power of the invisibility, when it finally creates what's visible, and you wonder where it's been all the time. And the world, I think, with social media, and some of it isn't all that social, I must admit. I mean, I'm with you with Facebook. It can be either not social, or it can be too social. And I don't care where people have been on their holidays half the time. You know, it's just, or what they're having for dinner, and this is a photograph of my dinner tonight. You know, great. Who cares? You know, I'm there to learn something or find out something and share. So I tend to hang around in Twitter and in Google Plus. But the world is, with all of this, I think, getting a lot smaller. And it's making people more and more connected in ways that, as you said, you would probably have never have met. I mean, you've got 3 people in Florida that may never have met. I'm in the middle of Ashdown Forest in England. Right, Johann's in Ottawa, and so where would we have met like this? And yeah, I do think the world is getting, I mean, don't get me wrong, the world's getting smaller. I still wouldn't want to paint it or mow it, but it is getting smaller, you know, because everybody is accessible. This is like a real life interactive web conferencing system. You know, the old things you used to have in the middle of the boardroom table?
Yeah.
It's an extension of that, and it just makes business worldwide, you know, where you can see people, speak to people in real time, and I think it's fantastic.
You know,
but then, if I could just add just before, I mean, obviously, you know, Dave, you're not sharing what you're going to be eating at every dinner, but you have the sharing a lot of painting frames here. I don't know if there's a pattern, but anyway, we like your frames. We do like your frames. Customers. Yeah, exactly. So, but I think your point to me is we're painting a giant canvas, a huge worldwide canvas. You know, Danielle Pink is you know, written about the right-brainers are going to rule the world, the creative. I mean, that's a Picasso metaphor right there, right? We don't need to be. We are our own Picasso. Just give yourself permission to be who you are, and then unleash your talent, and be crazy enough to surround yourself with crazy people, with, you know, people in Washington like Nora, right, Nora? Are we crazy or what? that is putting you on the stuff.
But I mean, there is something to be said for actually. You can be on social media and have a Twitter account, but you still need to engage. It's not about just sending out your information alone. To have the social element of social media.
Yeah. Engage, and you're such a good engager. I mean, you are doing it in the community on a day-to-day, and yeah, him would say, you know, in any infectious conversation, and that I keep quoting him because I love his book. But you got to say something. You got to talk. You got to jump. You know. So, you know, we are developing a unique currency right now. So, what if we did that? You know. So, do we need to do a real conference? You know, is there a need to do real conferences, or is the future more into that kind of, you know, connection that we're building right now? Where's the learning going? Where's the development of leaders going?
You know, I think this kind of forum allows us to connect with so many more people and at more of an in-depth level than we've ever had access to before. And you know, to pick up on the thread before about, you know, the tension that we experience. You know, for me, one of the things that I've noticed is I spent so much focus for a while on engaging through social media, and I had less in-person contact, started going to less conferences, things like that. You know, I think I don't think you're ever going to replace the face-to-face. I think what this allows you to do, though, is, you know, if we were to all show up at a conference together tomorrow, we'd be related already.
Yes.
And there's something that is much more possible when you show up and you've already have a foundation, a connection, than would be possible if you didn't. The other thing I think that social media does is I think that it levels the playing field. You know, one of the other things Daniel Pink wrote about is the world is flat, right? And, you know, and we see the natural flattening of hierarchies in organizations.
Yes.
But in the social constructs we live in, an author gets put up on a pedestal, and somebody who's never written a book, and in a context of an author's conference, there's a hierarchy that shows up there. But one of the things that happens, just using that as an example, one of the things that happens in social media is you're interacted based on the quality of your ideas, not based on your position, your title, your level. I mean, some people still look to those things. That's never been my bend. So maybe you guys can tell me whether this is just my own little illusion I live in. But I don't feel that hierarchy or that structure. I feel the world is flat. And I love interacting with people at the level of ideas. And I think that allows us to connect at a deeper level. So that when we actually do get together, a 30-minute conversation turns into a 2-hour one. So that's just a thought on that topic.
We're all going to be meeting Ted in what's the Starbucks address again that we need to?
I think I've given them enough of a plug for today.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the third favorite place. But maybe Google Plus is going to become your third, just like Tom. So the flattening of the world. Yeah. Go ahead, Ted.
No, I was going to say, this is a question I've been asking myself lately. Sometimes I don't come up with answers for a long time, and often it's somebody else who provides the answer. Maybe you guys can help me. When we're all famous, fill in the rest of that blank. I guess it won't matter anymore. And that's what I love about, it's one of the many things I love about social media. It is democratizing celebrity.
Exactly. That's right.
You can't be, right now we're at a point in time where, yes, you can still be a celebrity and you can still treat people like crap and get on TV, right? But that is quickly passing. So many people have so many avenues now. They don't need a publicist. They don't need one of 3 TV networks in New York to get their word out. Now there are, literally millions of TV networks and blogs and everything else that we're all becoming celebrities. And when we're all celebrities, then what Susan said is absolutely right on the money. Then all that matters is what we have to say.
So as the world becomes such a giant open space, Suzanne, is that where we're going with this?
Well, I don't know if I'll go there right away, Johan, because there's a part, and I'll say this, when I got onto Twitter, and then I saw HRockstars, and within less than 12 hours, I don't know how many, 60 emails or something, I thought, this is crazy. I thought, oh, no. I said, it's wonderful, but no, and I'm still in that space.
Yeah.
There's a grounded part of me that passionately cares, but no more. I'm no Joan of Arc or anything, but I know there's a lot of suffering out there, and I know that people are on the rat wheel of their jobs that they're in that pays the bills. And it feels like I was in that role not that many years ago. And it's not that I was unhappy. I just had a very smaller world that I was operating in, and I feel so supremely grateful that I had the opportunity to get off it for a while. But I'm still very dedicated to work should be joyful and life should be joyful. And I think while no insult intended to anyone, whether it's fame or wonderful books or wonderful everything, they're all thoughts in our mind, and I can get totally addicted and get on that bliss trip. But at the end of the day, there is something to be said about physically or mentally or doing work together.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this creative energy that we're going to have individually, it's then how do we kind of ebb and flow and give each other our turn on leadership and do some things, and then feel at the end that we did some stuff that's really cool, that made this world a better place, had added value and all that. So that's what I want to stay grounded, or I want to see it all, but I also want to stop and make the right choices, even if I know those choices might change and evolve. Well, but otherwise, I won't be satisfied. It'll be too much like a carnival that I'm never getting off the merry-go-round. I don't want that either.
No, but there are some people that are famous, like Dave Moore, right? That's...
and you don't know. I heard the interview that was done today about him. There's stuff I learned. Wow.
Exactly. I'm not resistant.
Oh, but I won't let the cat out of the bag on that one.
So, but it's true, Dave. There's so much energy. Yeah, exactly. There's so much energy being built here, but Suzanne is sort of, setting the bar for us, you know, that's action part of that. So where do we go from this? How do we hit the ground running with all that bliss? Dave, where do we start?
Me.
Well, by definition.
Because Dave, when we think of bliss, we think of you. That's
Wow. Yeah, I think if you look up bliss in the dictionary, you're not going to see a picture of me.
Depends.
I could tell you a few places I'll probably turn up in there. No, it's getting it together. I mean, I'm an old-fashioned. You know, call me old-fashioned if you like, but I believe that you need to be in the presence of people sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything better than attending a live event and meeting that person that you have followed and you have admired, you've read, you've listened to. And this is a great way, I think, that celebrities can use this as interacting with people without getting stalked. You know, I see a lot of people on Twitter interacting with their fans, but they would probably never be able to do that in real life. Whereas with this is completely different. This is almost polar opposite to me, where I want to be in the presence of somebody on stage and listen to them in real time. I want to get my book by them signed. You know, I want to interact with them on a one-to-one basis for even 5 minutes. It's worth it to me because there are so many great people that you want to learn from. And it's great to do this and interact with people. And if you get the likes of, I don't know, the Larry Wingetts and the Warren Greshus and all these sort of guys that appeal to me, to get them on here would be great. But to sit with them or to be in their presence would be a dream. Is to have them focused on me. And that to me is the old school of seeing somebody live. It's like listening to music, but you want to go and see them play live. Yeah. And I think you can never ever beat being there and seeing somebody live. So I think we've got to look at the next stages of what everybody does collectively here is getting sections, not everybody, but maybe a selection of people who want to talk about a particular area of what this community does, and then another one with a selection of people who speak about this area of what this community does, rather than get everybody together to speak about everything that it covers, because I think that would be too immense.
It's like a Starbucks menu, right?
I just put that up here.
They should be sending us some gift cards right about now.
Yeah. I want my 23 cents every time I say that word.
Sponsors of Starbucks, there we go.
Exactly.
The amount of times we've mentioned them, they've had free advertising off of us.
For sure.
And they don't advertise me.
And I'm jumping in real quick here because
go ahead, Suzanne.
Just real quick, because Johan gave me this opportunity to want to talk about open space, and yes. I feel like I can't go there because I wouldn't shut up about it. But Dave gave me this opening, and it does have to do with fame. It does have to do with leadership. In open space, it is face to face. But what happens, it's not with a cadre of leaders or experts that are presenting. It's about people truly engaging with each other. And Dave, what you pointed out so well, I worked with a lot of leaders. And I'm not the type of person that will point to the leader and say, you're not doing this, and you should be doing this, and you should be getting this, and it ain't no fun, that much fun being up there, and you get put on a pedestal that you didn't ask to be on, actually, but you can get used to it, too. But people have an opportunity in open space to unleash their own leadership and to take a leadership, and it also gives leaders and experts the opportunity to just be regular folks. And there is a great deal of purposefulness in it. I mean, we're not just getting together to have a party. We're getting together on something that's important. So, I could talk about this for quite a while, but I won't, but yes, there's nothing that replaces how it feels, the energy. I sat in front of Ted, and I won't tell you how many hours, and I won't even tell you where it was. You can guess.
Starbucks.
You can guess.
It was in Naples at a different Starbucks. from a usual one. Go ahead.
You know, it was like I can see myself at Kim's on one side and Jasmina Nikolic, who, Dave, you must meet Jasmina when you go to Serbia, although she might be in Florida. So, you know, she's here somewhere. She might be coming to Florida, so what are we going to do about that? But it's just that we were there, and, you know, the whole environment.
Has she gone to Florida?
And there's energy in the room.
Going to Serbia.
Pardon me? What, Dave?
Has she gone to Florida because she heard someone tell her that I was going to Serbia?
I don't know. Because Joanne's coming to Florida, so that's it. Okay, so that's enough. I want to give more time to others. Come on.
I want to build on what you're just talking about, Suzanne, because when one of the first people I met on Twitter was Mike Henry, and some of you might know Mike. He formed the Lead Change Group, and so when people ask him why did he form the Lead Change Group, he said because somebody told me I could create a group on LinkedIn, so I pressed the button, right? And so this conversation started. He created this Lead Change Group. He was on Twitter. We started interacting and talking about this, and I don't know, within a year we had a conference, and 15 of us met in a conference room in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And we had an unconference. We didn't have an agenda. We said we don't want to go to somebody else's leadership conference. We want to take the conversation that we started online, and we want to talk about character-based leadership in person, and we're just going to allow the conversation to unfold. And it was a brilliant conversation. And now, Lead Change is now one of the top leadership blogs in the world, and it's also now officially a nonprofit organization. We've written a book together, so a lot of actual real things have come out. What difference have we made? Can we point to some? Oh, great, another book.
Books does Ted have that we're not seeing right now?
I've got one hell of a collection of books. Let me tell you.
We need to add an HR Rockstar book to that.
Yeah, I've got that book too, Ted. Someone very special signed it and sent it to me.
Yeah, but there was exactly. But there was a state change that actually occurred in the group when it went from being offline to being online, and I don't know how to describe it other than that, but there definitely was a state change. So all of a sudden it went from this concept, and all of a sudden when it was attached to real people that that you could hug, right, and shake their hands and see and talk to in person. It made it seem far more real. And the most magical thing of all, though, was one of the women, Deb Costello, showed up. She's a teacher in a school district in Orlando, Florida, and she came to the conference, and somebody saw tweets about it on Twitter, had just gotten on Twitter, said, it looks like something you'd be interested in, Deb, because you're all about leadership and you're all about character. Why don't you go? She got her school to pay for her to go, and she showed up and had no idea what she was going to. And I thought, wow, now that's a leap of faith. But so just just kind of a funny story, but anyway, it makes it real. It's so the open space, the person-to-person conversation, it makes it real. And so I don't think the online interaction is ever enough. But back to what Tom was saying before, what are we really doing with it? Like, we can meet, we can write a book, we can have a conference. We're
gonna give Tom a hug right now.
A hug? No, I'm okay. I'm okay. No, I'm just listen. I'm
just kidding.
I'm listening because I hope that we all see that what social media has, in essence, done is it has empowered individuals, especially independent professionals, consultants, advisors, authors, all the people that live in offices by themselves. It's empowered them to go build an audience for free. And take this as a good thing or a bad thing, but it's allowed them to build their own economy and their own marketplace out of all of this. Mm-hmm. And what I'm hoping, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess it's a good thing for the people who can do that. What I'm hoping is that somehow we can take all this activity and point to some type of cultural or societal metrics to say, this has real value because look what we're seeing. You see, I'm not seeing the past 15 years of the internet changing our culture and our society. I'm seeing, I don't know, metrics that point to other things. You know, a widening of the gap between who has and who doesn't have. You know, people who can't afford to go to college, healthcare that's not affordable. You know, so I'm looking for real world solutions that brings everybody along to a better place where we all look at this great technology and say, wow, look what it's doing for all of us. It's doing wonderful things. Is it doing wonderful things for certain individuals? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. We could write case studies all day long about individuals. Is it bringing society and our culture along to a better place? I don't know. Help me. Tell me it is, and point to it for me, so I can sit here and say yes, it is. You know.
Well, I think like Ted said earlier, right? Sometimes just having a question is part of the answer. So we I think collectively are raising the question, that call to action, and what if we are presented with that giant canvas? What if? Well, we are, and the next step is the leap of faith. You know, I'm opening a door with you, Ted, because you've been really active on Twitter. I mean, I'm amazed. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
I
but
tweet a lot. Yes, I do.
You do.
Sir, tweet a lot.
I am. I'm sure tweet a lot. I have friends who call me Twitter Man. That's what I am. I'm Twitter Man. All right. If I may, for 4.5 years now, I've been researching A World Gone Social,
Yes.
which I'm writing with Mark Bevitt. And so I love Tom's question because it was a softball. Ready? Here we
There you go.
For me, because I've been immersed in this topic.
It's an easy one.
It's not coming out till August. We don't even have a web page to capture your interest, folks. Just keep it in your head for a long time from now, 9 months. All right. Here are some of the things that have changed in the world, and we're only still at the very brink of the social age. That's important to keep in mind. Crowdfunding. So instead of giving to a big charity, big nameless charity where your money's a drop in the bucket, you can go to Kiva, and you can give money where you can connect directly with a person who needs a microloan in any country, including your own, around the world. That's pretty freaking amazing. I love social media for Kiva. Jumpstarter, you want to start a project. We funded something. My girls helped me vote for when it went up and when it went down. The one that went up was something from well, who cares? But anyway, so these folks needed $5,000 to get their project off the ground, and then they created a product and were able to sell it with that $5,000 starter, right? How cool is that? So that, again, is a social media use of just changing the world. Instead of going to venture capitalists who's like, $5,000, get out of here. I don't have time for that. I need $5 million investing at least, or else it's too small for me. You can go online and you can do that. Glassdoor, I love, because you can find out if your company really is as cool as the recruiting department tells you. That's actually my favorite use of social media, besides just talking to each other, is companies are losing all the power. And so another one is when a company does something bad, like J.P. Morgan, they got in the banking industry is just fascinating to me. They keep getting in the news, and it won't go away for them. It's like a nightmare. So honesty is becoming mandatory just as a business survival skill. And then you look at the Arab Spring, and I'll shut up in a second. But the Arab Spring is ongoing. It's incredibly tragic, but those people would be across the Middle East would be chained still, and some of them have achieved freedom. Some of them are faltering towards freedom. Some of them, it's still up in the air. But that is entirely because of social media. People have wanted to be free since the first people joined a civilization. Social media changed that with the Twitter or Facebook revolutions.
So have we reached a tipping
I love
point?
social media.
Yeah, no kidding. But have we reached a tipping point that we keep saying we live in a volatile world and so on. The pace of technology is so rapid. But have we reached a tipping point that is it going to be in 2014 where we're going to, jump across the world, or is it more like Tom is saying, well, there's a huge gap, between the haves and the have-not. But I feel that there's so much energy And I think HRockstars, you know, we have people from different continents. We have Eva that's watching us from Belgrade, and Dave that's in London, and so on. But, you know, is it, you know, to me, it's not about the tool, it's not about the medium, it's about people. People entering into outstanding conversations, and then, no matter what, like, you know, Susan is saying, you know, my friend, you know, had to be there. So it's about, I think leadership to me is about unleashing energy and igniting ourselves, and then people will find a way to get together and make things happen. So like-minded, crazy people are going to magically make things happen. So I'm sort of, my turn to ramble here.
No, I listen.
Yeah, I don't know that it's measurable.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yes. Tom?
No, I was going to say, look, I participate in Kiva. You know, I love the power of the medium, and that was my point. Is that social media, these new technologies, they give power to the individual with the idea to change something, to make a difference. But there has to be the idea. Someone has to step up and say, okay, this is what we're going to change about how the world works, because how it works right now is not the best way it can work. So if we use that medium to do that, then, you know, wonderful, wonderful. That's the potential of the medium to do things like that. Now, is that done by by entrepreneurs? That seems to be what the medium is being used for right now. It's for innovators and entrepreneurs. I don't know about you, but I don't see a lot of CEOs on Twitter.
Right.
You know, so I don't know that executives have the time to engage in social media. Ted, you can probably tell me, Ted, because are they out there? Are executives on social media all day long learning from our engagement with each other?
3%. 3% of CEOs of Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies are on social media at all, even just a LinkedIn profile.
That is scary.
But the thing is, if I were, I spoke to a group of about 1,000 board members at the largest boards in DC, and this fall it was really funny. The thing is, folks, find a new CEO. If you don't respect the social realm, if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know what it is, you are a vestige of the last century.
There we go. I applaud. There we go. Yeah.
I'm going to jump in here and just say, I think I'm just like internalizing all this, and we still have that. Let's take the horse and buggy whip. I mean, and let's say that that's how it's operating. And then we've got the new technology with cars. We just don't have a critical mass enough. And I think, you know, some of the things Tom was talking about a while ago is just, and you, Ted, we're starting to see pockets of activity that are happening. We just don't have enough of a critical mass. I mean, it's not like we're going to flick the switch and there we're all going to dump the old economy and get into the new economy. I mean, we're building bridges. And for us, we're privileged enough to have found each other and finding, and, you know, just kind of igniting those ideas. And, you know, I just guess I'm sitting there with that kind of realization tonight, that kind of new reality of saying, because I've been struggling also with people, there's so much now that's clear to us that we can see that's not pretty. And yet people are overwhelmed by this. And I think it's captured in your book, Tom, that you talk about that there's never been this much choice, and people almost with what to do, and sometimes they do nothing, or else we don't see them doing nothing, and you live with doing nothing, and that doesn't feel so good. And I feel that at times. I mean, I'm not always jolly and optimistic. I just kind of get some days kind of depressed, you know, about this. And then I crank myself out. I come and hang out with you guys, and then I feel totally great. No, but seriously, I think we're in that changing world. And I can't go live in that old world anymore, but I want to help it out so we can, and I don't think help it out to fix it. like, let's go build these new paths. And then when we start living there, we'll dump the old, I'm sure.
We're like kind of steering right now, but, you know, I like Ted's point about and we had that, you know, earlier conversation about that Vesper. I need to talk about the lemon twist in our hangouts at least once. So, you know, by the time you order your, James Bond in leadership. So by the time you order your Vesper Martini, you're going to be on the outside looking in, and we're going to be in the country driving our Aston Martin. So, yeah, I mean, you gotta. So I think it's fear of change. I think that's about fear. People are playing to their fear because it's too. Or I hear, you know, people that are in charge of organizations saying, my blogs are pre-programmed, or I have this person taking care of it. So, is it a generational thing? I mean, what's going on there? I feel like we're kind of steering, but at the same time, we're surrounded. So we can't use the excuse that we're overwhelmed because, you know, Dave is going to send us those nice posts in the HRockstars saying, deactivate your notifications. So you can't use that excuse that you're feeling overwhelmed because it's really there for you. You need to give yourself permission and enter into outstanding relationship, period. People are out there, you know. Nora, we haven't heard from you for a long time. I know you're taking a lot of good notes, but
yeah, I am. I mean, I'm soaking it in. I think it would be interesting. I think, you know, over the next couple of years, it would be interesting to see how many entrepreneurs are formed from social media because they are given the opportunity to connect with other entrepreneurs, and they're the first person in their families to start a business. And if you are that first person, it's very challenging, the first person to go to college in your family, because you don't have that support network, and social media is giving people that wouldn't otherwise have the ideas to share, have the support network, the opportunity to be the first in their family and not do the traditional doctor, lawyer, corporate route. So there's just something about honoring the individual and having someone be authentic that ties, in my opinion, to social media. You can find the people that think like you.
Well,
and
exactly.
That's wonderful.
And you have access to the world. So if you want to manufacture something, you can be speaking to someone in China on you know, Google Chat, and you can have your product manufactured next week over there. You know, yeah. I mean, it's just. But and here's the I don't know if you want to call it a dilemma or whatever. But as individuals and entrepreneurs have access to a worldwide market, they have the ability to significantly reduce costs and pretty much disrupt the traditional business world. And that's what we're seeing, right? I mean, Newsweek magazine, gone. Time magazine, gone. You're going to see many, many media organizations collapse because all the attention is being taken away by small, or, you know, when I say small groups, by individuals that have access to these audiences, that can appeal to these audiences in a more precise way. And so what happens to all of these workers who are out there that have to pay their bills, that have jobs that are all of a sudden, you know, that's been disintermediated? You know, what happens to all these people? Can everyone be a publisher with an audience of 10,000 people and make a living? I don't. Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to have 20 million micro celebrities that all have audiences of 10,000 people each?
So maybe that CEO needs to get a Twitter account in order to make the
He needs to get ready. You know, William Bridges wrote a book in 1993 called Job Shift. And in that book, he actually, and it's very prescient what he said, that the job is an artifact of the Industrial Revolution.
Yep.
And I think we truly are seeing that now, and I think social media has advanced that. And quite honestly, thank God, because there are a lot of people out there who found themselves self-employed, and had it not been for social media, they would not, to Nora's point, they would not have had that network of people to help lift them up and find their way. You know, I'm one of the examples that you're talking about. I'm the first person in my family to go to college, and I'm definitely the first person to seek employment outside of the realm of a job. And I don't know that I would have kept going if it wasn't for social media, and just at one point just thrown up my hands and said, I'm just going to go find a job because it's easier, because I don't have the network I need. And interestingly enough, where I get the fuel from social media, Dave talked before about that invisible force, the invisible becomes visible. There is something that you get, the energy that you get, that you need to sustain yourself as a thought leader, as an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you're trying to put into the world in whatever form. For me, Twitter is like the best water cooler in the world.
Yeah, Andy's not there, but yeah.
I think the difference,
or it's a bar.
I think the difference too with social media is that you do now have the opportunity to be like, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. And then you have other people being, me too, I don't have that either. I'm trying to figure that out too. Let's do it together. So it's not the typical guru leader that you go to get all your answers from. There are authentic leaders out there that are saying, here's where I tripped and struggled. Here's my advice. Here's how I got through this and that people didn't have access to before. You thought people were on pedestals. And now you get to find out they're real and have a story and are genuine and, try to balance kids and homework and school and running a business at the same time.
So in one of our previous Hangouts, we had people like jumping into the conversation basically from nowhere on Google. We're not live right now, but by the time this gets infectious, people are going to watch this forever. And I'm mindful of the time because I got a Karate Kid personally. I got to pick up in 20 minutes, and God knows I could go on and on and on as I'm hearing somebody come into the house. But I want to offer you, and two things. I think the infectious bliss here is pretty self-evident, and our friend Ahim Novak again is in Shanghai, and I want to open a door for us to play once again. And we just lost Susan. She's probably going to come back in a few seconds. But I think there are many gold nuggets, a lot of questions that were raised tonight, and maybe that's part of hitting the ground running. That we're going to be thinking about these things and coming back in the new year and putting our reflections to action. So, in the context of time and the Karate Kid that is I need to pick up, I want to offer every one of you an opportunity to maybe say a few closing words, and then we're going to say goodbye to everybody. So, as I did, not to put you on the spot, Suzanne, I just did. So, just to offer a few of your comments, what you took out from our discussion, and what are your holiday plans, if you want to share that?
Well, of course, my holiday plans, I'll start with there. I'll be meeting you and your sweetie, and exactly. Amongst other things, I'll be in Florida. Where I'm sitting right now is just a lot of gratitude. We don't have all the answers. We're living in an incredible time of creativity, of possibility, of opportunity, and I just had a great time tonight. I just really, and then I wish that Susan was still here, because I'm going to send you a note, and I want you all to come to New York and have that unconference that'll be called Open Space, and come meet my pal Harrison Owen and spend 3 days together, because you guys are so awesome. And so I'm just feeling like warm and cozy and purposeful and everything. So that's my closing comments.
Well, thank you. And we can start by meeting Ted in Starbucks.
Yes.
There you go.
Naples. Exactly.
We had to. I had to.
Yes. Yes.
So Ted, over to you. What are your holiday plans, and where are we going with this wild and woolly discussion?
My holiday plans, probably because I'm in the southern portion of Florida, I'll be driving around with the top down, wishing I saw snow.
Oh, God.
Don't feel sorry for me.
No.
I know, I'm a weather bully. So my whole family's here in Naples, except for my sister's family, so almost all of us. We're just going to enjoy each other's company as we do most weekends, and I'm really excited about Christmas. The closing comments, you guys, the social age has barely even begun, and we have just scratched the surface on it in our discussion tonight. It is so exciting to me.
Yes.
So, and by the way, Nora, I have to listen to this again, because what you're saying about enabling entrepreneurialism in first-generation entrepreneurs, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about it, is learning new stuff every time I log on.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you so much for igniting and letting the roof on fire tonight. Tom, what are your holiday plans, my friend? I mean, there's so many gold nuggets that came from you tonight. I'm on fire just listening to you.
Well, I'm grateful, first of all, that I'm out here in the East Coast, a little north of Boston, because I'm watching Dave over there. He looks like he's going to collapse. What is it, 1 in the morning, Dave?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's actually 12. It's 12:15 here.
Okay,
But I've been on the road since 6 this morning. So
I can tell you.
this is
hanging in there.
dedication. This is. Dedication.
No, I've got I've got older children, so we do a lot of traveling to different homes. My brother's home, my home, my children are coming in. It's a great time of year, and I'm hopeful listening to folks like Ted, because look, it's going to take some passionate people to take what we have in our hands and do something beneficial with it. I mean, that's what I look towards. Is not. I love a great intellectual debate, like any other monkey mind out there. I mean, I can sit all day long and just discuss everything with everyone, but at the end of the day, it's what we do with this opportunity. I mean, it's the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive right now. You couldn't have picked a better time. What are we going to do with it? That's my challenge to myself and to everyone that I talk to. Is okay, great. What are you going to do with it? So I'm glad to be here with like-minded people who are wondering the same thing.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. We're giving you high fives, and I guess a hug is near. Dave, we're gonna finish with you, Nora. I mean, God.
Of course, ladies first, always, right?
Yeah. What are your holiday plans?
I will be in New York City for Christmas and New Year's, so with tons of family and really just looking forward to it. And I don't have to cook or clean, so it's fabulous. I couldn't ask for more. But I would just first like to start and say thank you to Susan, who is no longer with us, and you, Suzanne, and Tom, and Ted. Like, it is such an honor to be with you. This is the first time that we've been able to connect off Twitter or Google Plus and have an actual hangout. So it was just a pleasure, and I asked and she comes.
Power of intention.
Exactly. So it really was a pleasure, and I look forward to our next conversation. And for anyone listening and is not part of Google or our HR Rockstars yet, head on over to Google Plus. Sign up. We would love to welcome you, and you could connect with all these wonderful people that you wouldn't have access to otherwise, thanks to social media. So thank you, Johan, for putting this together.
Well, thank you for putting up with me.
And Susan, you're on mute.
Yes, Susan. So your timing is perfect, because we were talking about our holiday plans. I'm sure you have a lot. Can you hear us?
I can.
Good. So we're just on closing words, and we're sharing what we're going to be doing over the holidays, and whatever you are taking from this to start the year. So where are you going to be in Christmas to start?
Hold on. I am actually left in the question, if my internet and Twitter went down permanently, what would I do with myself?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. That's a subject for another discussion.
I felt very disconnected there all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to look for a Valium. I'll be right back.
Yeah, poor Ted.
I need something stronger than Dark Coast.
I panicked.
You did, eh? We could feel it. So Nora was talking about you, and then boom, you appeared.
So anyway, I just want to thank you for having me on the show tonight, and for those of you I haven't connected with before, it's really great to meet you in person. I've seen you around the web, but I haven't. It's nice to have this connection, and so just thank you for a great conversation. And I learned a lot tonight, and I'm left thinking about a lot of things in terms of really how do we make sure that our engagement here truly makes the difference it can make in the world. And that's the question I'm left in.
Thank you so much, Susan. Dave, I'm going to go immediately to you, my friend.
Okay.
Holiday plans.
I just want to say thanks to everybody, the four of you, for joining us tonight, because it's been great to hang out with you. I'm going to Cayman Islands on 28th of December.
Oh, Oh, please.
And then back, and then off to Paris and Belgrade to work.
And we don't want to see your pictures on Facebook, Dave.
Yeah.
No, they won't be there, but there may
Rocky.
be a few meals I've had. I don't know yet. No, the thing that I've taken away from this is that I've always, I mean, like Nora, I've always believed that a lone business person needn't be alone anymore with these hangouts. There's a wealth of information and a wealth of connections there where you can make the connections, and you don't want anything from them. Just, you know, to have a chat, and you get some information and you get some pointers, and it's a great resource. Where it will go, I don't know. It's a hypothetical question to me. You know, where would we be with a hypothetical question? No, where it goes, I don't know, but I think the change agents that are on here, they're the people who actually get off their backsides and do something about this. And we can only progress when the technology progresses. And we're talking about giving each other hugs and all that. How far down the line is that? If we think back 5-10 years ago, did we think we'd have this?
Dave, please. I'd like a real one, man. You know.
Okay, is it going to be in New York? That's target.
What a great way to finish this. It's awesome.
Yeah, you guys are just awesome.
Hey, Johan, thank you so much, too.
Well,
Jeez.
well, yeah,
You're
exactly.
awesome, amazing.
Well, thank you. Let me just grab something here because my daughter has been wanting the mouse. So, kids, right? Je peux prendre la souris. Can I take the mouse? So she's been going in the background here. So that's my holiday plan, taking care of the kids and myself and Angela and our loved one. So thank you to all of you. You know, you're each unstoppable and infectious, and I'm grateful. If you want to go and have a call for action, while I'm inviting those that are watching to the HR Rockstars tribe on Google Plus to start, and we have, you know, we're finishing the year on a really good note, and we're going to start on fire, to quote Dave Moore, hitting the ground running.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.